Nah, yang tadi pertama itu kan tragedi. Yang terakhir ini sekarang ini.
Pak Ang. Ang, can you hear me?
Yes, Cecilia.
Hi. Can you let us know if we're good to start? I'm not actually.
Yes, we are good to start now. Within
Okay.
10 seconds, coordinating Ministry of Economic Affairs, Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources, and Ambassador Lars Bolarsen will come to the venue.
Thank you. Ang, apologies. I don't see Pak Wimbo amongst the list of panelists.
Yeah.
Online. Could you tell us if we still need to wait for him to connect?
Okay, I will ask.
Thank you.
Venue.
Thank you. Ang, apologies. I don't see Pak Wimbo amongst the list of panelists.
Yeah.
Online. Could you tell us if we still need to wait for him to connect?
Okay, I will.
Thank you. Thank you. Ang, apologies. I don't see Pak Wimbo amongst the list of panelists.
Izin Pak untuk mengkontak Pak Wimbo dulu Pak.
If we still need to wait for him to connect.
Okay, I will.
Thank you. I don't see Pak Wimbo amongst the list of panelists.
Pak, untuk mengkontak Pak Wimbo dulu Pak.
If we still need to wait for him to connect.
Okay, I will.
Philippe, can you check? I think there's something wrong with the
Yes, I can hear a lot of noise from...
Cecilia's message seems to be repeating.
I think there is two devices connected on the same meeting, that's why.
It's the same message that she said earlier. Is there any way to mute her from your end?
Let me check to mute. Okay. I mute OECD CEFIM. Okay, so we'll start in a few minutes.
Philip, Dominic, are we good to start?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Is there any way to mute her?
Please tell me if you are good to start.
Ang, we still have Pak Wimbo connected online. Can you?
Menko team already contacting.
Okay.
Secretary.
Okay. So Rodolfo, we're still waiting for Pak to connect.
Okay. Okay, no problem.
And I guess we should just wait 1 minute to know if we need to change the ordering or. Ang, could you please let us know what is happening there and if we can go ahead and start letting people in?
Yeah, we need to wait for Pak Wimbo. Anyone from OJK, maybe if you can type or you can get a connection.
Rasmus, would you like to do a quick audio and video check while we're waiting for Pak Wimbo to connect?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, very well. When your video is very clear. Thank you.
Me as well? Yeah.
Yes, very well. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Yeah, we're still waiting for OJK to join.
And can we go ahead and launch the Zoom and let the attendees join? Because it'll take a few minutes for everyone to be admitted.
I'm getting messages from attendees as to when.
Are we good to start now?
We can. We just need to, we can start letting people in. And then if you just keep us informed about the status of Pak Wimbo. then Rodolfo can adjust as
Okay.
required. Does that work for you, Ang?
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
I'll start the webinar.
Ya, Pak Guntur, if you can
Thank you,
support.
Dominic.
Pak Wimbo, Pak. Saya sudah. Ini aja. Oke, siap. Baik. Ya, baik. Bapak, Ibu, dan Bapak, Ibu sekalian, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat siang dan salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Yang terhormat Menteri Koordinator Bidang Perekonomian, Bapak Erlangga Hartarto. Yang terhormat Menteri Energi dan Sumber Daya Mineral, Bapak Arifin Tasrif. Yang terhormat Ketua Dewan Komisioner Otoritas Jasa Keuangan, Bapak Wimbo Santoso. Yang terhormat Duta Besar Denmark untuk Indonesia, His Excellency Ambassador Lars Bolarsen. Yang terhormat Sekretaris Jenderal Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, Mr. Matthias Korman, serta Bapak dan Ibu dan hadirin yang berbahagia. Pertama, marilah kita panjatkan puji syukur kehadirat Tuhan Yang Maha Kuasa yang telah memberi kita kesehatan sehingga dapat hadir dalam acara hari ini baik offline maupun online. Yang kedua, kami ucapkan terima kasih atas kehadiran dan partisipasi Bapak dan Ibu dalam acara peluncuran Laporan Clean Energy Finance and Investment Policy Review of Indonesia, yang merupakan salah satu hasil kerjasama antara pemerintah Indonesia dengan OECD dalam program Clean Energy Finance and Investment Mobilization. Bapak dan Ibu yang terhormat, izinkan saya menyampaikan susunan acara hari ini, di mana akan terdapat 5 sesi. Yang pertama adalah sesi pembukaan dan sambutan, yang nanti akan dipandu oleh Mr. Rodolfo Lesi dari OECD. Yang kedua adalah sesi serah terima buku laporan CEFIM Policy Review of Indonesia dari Dubes Denmark kepada Bapak Menko Perekonomian, di mana nanti sebelum menyerahkan buku tersebut, kami akan persilahkan Bapak Dubes untuk menyampaikan sambutan singkat terlebih dahulu. Setelah itu nanti kami mohon perkenan Bapak Menko, Bapak Menteri SDM, dan Bapak Dubes untuk dapat melakukan foto bersama sebelum meninggalkan ruang acara. Sesi selanjutnya adalah diskusi panel yang akan dipandu oleh Ms. Cecilia Tam dari OECD dan akan dihadiri oleh 4 orang pembicara, yaitu Direktur Jenderal Energi Baru dan Terbarukan dan Konservasi Energi, Bapak Dadan Kusdiana dari Kementerian Energi dan Sumber Daya Mineral, Ibu Direktur Jenderal Pengendalian Perubahan Iklim, Kementerian Lingkungan Hidup dan Kehutanan, Ibu Laksmi Dewanti, Head of Green Diplomacy and Climate, Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Denmark, Mr. Rasmus Abildgaard Finstansen, UK COP26 Regional Ambassador to Asia and South Asia, Mr. Ken O'Flaherty. Dan yang sesi terakhir adalah sesi penutupan. Bapak dan Ibu yang terhormat, demikian yang dapat saya sampaikan untuk mengawali acara. Selanjutnya, saya persilahkan Mr. Rodolfo Lesi untuk memandu jalannya sesi pertama. Rodolfo, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ang. Excellencies, Ministers, Secretary General, dear friends and colleagues, good afternoon and good morning to everyone. It is my honor to be here today to moderate the first session of our event on attractive private investment for Indonesia's green recovery, which marks the launch of our Clean Energy Finance and Investment Policy Review of Indonesia. This review, which identifies opportunities to mobilize finance and investment for renewable energy and energy efficiency, is particularly timely in the context of the current pandemic and can help support Indonesia's green recovery. Its analysis draws on expertise from all across the OECD and our sister organization, the International Energy Agency, as well as on our extensive work on green finance and investment. It also benefited from the knowledge and experiences of a range of key stakeholders which have taken part in our numerous dialogues and events organized throughout the review process. I'm talking about the Spanish government, OECD member, and key partner country delegates and delegations, financial institutions, project developers, development partners. To overcome challenges, the review identifies a number of policy recommendations for Indonesia and development partners, which also follow up on recommendations from other OECD policy reviews, such as the Green Growth Policy Review, which I had a pleasure to launch in 2019 in Jakarta, as well as the recently released Investment Policy Review and the Economic Survey of Indonesia. This report is the fruit of our successful cooperation with the Indonesian government, and I am very pleased really that Indonesia was actually the first country to undertake this first and its kind review and to participate in our new Clean Energy and Investment Mobilization CEFIM program. In this regards, I would like to thank the government of Indonesia for their collaboration and all their support throughout the review process. Special thanks also to the government of Denmark for their generous financial support to the program, without which the review would not have been possible. We are now, this is my honor to start our first session, where we will hear some opening remarks from our distinguished guests. First, Mr. Matthias Cormann, the new OECD Secretary General. Then Bapak Wimbo Santoso, Chairman of the OJK. Then Bapak Arifin Tasrif, Minister of Energy and Mineral Resources of Indonesia. And finally, Bapak Erlangga Hartarto, Coordinating Minister for Economic Affairs of Indonesia. First, finally, I think that it is very important for us to mention His Excellency Lars Bo Larsen, the Danish ambassador to Indonesia, will also make some opening remarks as part of the handover session of this report. Now, let me invite the Secretary General, Matthias Cormann, to take the floor and to open the session. Mr. Cormann, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Rodolfo. Ministers, ambassadors, colleagues, I'm pleased to be here with you to launch the OECD Clean Energy Finance and Investment Policy Review of Indonesia, and also to open this webinar on attracting private investment to Indonesia's green recovery. Let me begin by thanking Mr. Wimbo Santoso, the Chairman of the Financial Services Authority, Mr. Arifin Tasrif, the Minister of Energy and Mineral Resources, as well as Mr. Erlangga Hartarto, the Coordinating Minister for Economic Affairs of Indonesia, for joining us today. And to the Government of Denmark for their financial support to our Clean Energy Finance and Investment Mobilization Program. Colleagues, this review, the first of this kind, comes at a particularly important and challenging time. As a result of the pandemic in Indonesia, like in other parts of the world, there's been a contraction in GDP. GDP in Indonesia fell by more than 2% last year, the worst recession since the Asian financial crisis in the 1990s. But the Indonesian economy is gradually recovering and is expected to grow by 4 to 5% over the 2021-22 period. The COVID-19 legacy has created new challenges. Vulnerable groups lost years of progress. Students did not attend school, and GDP remains below its potential. So clean energy investment can play a critical role in supporting Indonesia's recovery. If fully exploited, Indonesia's abundant renewable energy and energy efficiency potential could make it a leader in the clean energy market. Indonesia is already taking positive steps to make this happen. In sustainable finance, Indonesia has stressed the importance of filling the SDG financing gap and leveraging all available sources, including blended finance approaches, as well as utilizing triangular and south-south cooperation. Indonesia's global leadership in this field, also through the Trihita Karana roadmap, will help strengthen the G20 development agenda during Indonesia's upcoming G20 presidency in 2022. Indonesia has also made some tremendous improvements to the investment climate under its omnibus law. However, more can and must be done, and that's of course the subject of our discussion today. Unlocking the potential of the green recovery will require a transition away from fossil fuels. The energy sector is Indonesia's second largest source of greenhouse gas emissions. By embarking on a low carbon path, Indonesia can attract responsible foreign investment, create jobs, and address climate change. Creating a sound, transparent, and predictable regulatory environment in Indonesia is key to attracting the hundreds of billions of dollars of private investment to clean energy and supporting the country's green recovery more broadly. Aligning public investment and public procurement rules for Indonesia's energy sector to contribute to the path towards carbon neutrality can also help accelerate the shift towards renewable energy sources while preserving market competition. This clean finance and investment policy review supports Indonesia in this endeavor by providing a comprehensive overview of Indonesia's policies and highlighting the untapped opportunities for accelerating clean energy finance and investment. Let me highlight 3 proposed actions. First, we need to increase market competition and more stringent energy efficiency standards. Across the renewable energy sector, it is increasingly important. It's increasingly important in attracting foreign direct investment and to remain a competitive investment destination. Indonesia should accelerate developments in this area. Second, the government needs to continue supporting its clean energy transition. The recent commitment by PLN, the state-owned power utility, to achieve a net zero emission target by 2060 through the retirement of coal plants from 2025 onwards is a step in the right direction. Support will be vital in this transition as nearly 60% of Indonesia's electricity supply comes from its 29 gigawatt coal-fired power plants. Indonesia has also made efforts to reduce fossil fuel subsidies and is preparing for a future carbon price through the pilot of its emissions trading scheme. Third, environmental, social, and governance considerations and financial innovation for low carbon opportunities need to be integrated into the broader financial sector. To this end, Indonesia's sustainable finance roadmap and its sustainable finance taxonomy, which the OECD is helping to develop, will advance these efforts. Looking ahead, the OECD stands ready to continue to support Indonesia, including as part of the 4th OECD Indonesia Joint Work Programme, expected to launch this year under the theme Fostering a Resilient, Sustainable and Inclusive Recovery. This new joint work programme will exploit synergies with Indonesia's G20 presidency, including on sustainable finance, which the government identified as a priority under the finance track. The OECD has also launched a new international programme for action on climate to help OECD and G20 countries implement the goals of the Paris Agreement through a set of climate-related indicators, tailored recommendations and best practices. We would very much welcome Indonesia to join IPAC. Indonesia's investment in clean energy and its integration of ESG considerations also align with the Blue Dot Network's goals to accelerate quality infrastructure investment in the Asia Pacific. Finally, and in closing, the OECD can provide assistance to Indonesia with its digital transformation. Digital technologies have bolstered resilience during the pandemic, and they will be central to optimizing the strength and the quality of the post-COVID recovery. Minister Erlangga, friends, the work required to optimize the post-COVID-19 recovery has given us the opportunity to accelerate the transition to cleaner, greener growth. The OECD looks forward to deepening our engagement with Indonesia on environmental policy. We look forward to working with you as you progressively join our many declarations and conventions in this area and upgrading your policies and bringing them in line with international best practice. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Coleman. And now let me pass the floor to Bapak Wimbo Santoso, Chairman of the OJT. Mr. Wimbo, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Rodolfo Lacy. First of all, I would like to congratulate the the Coordinating Minister of Economic Affairs, Mr. Erlangga Hartarto, and also Bapak Arifin Tasrif, Minister of Energy and Mineral Resources, and also Mr. Matthias Korman, Secretary General, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, and also Mr. Lars Bullerarsen, Danish Ambassador, and also representative of ministry and related institution, esteemed colleagues and ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, and also good morning to all of you who are in Paris. First of all, I would like to convey my sincere thanks to Bapak Erlangga Hartarto for hosting this meeting, and also great pleasure for me to deliver these remarks today. And also I would like to congratulate to OECD for finalizing the Clean Energy Finance and Investment, or CEFI, policy review for Indonesia. As mentioned by Excellency Matthias Korman, the Secretary General of OECD, that it is the first time of OECD writing this kind of reports, which hopefully could become a global reference for developing the clean energy finance and investment in the world. As we are aware that the current COVID-19 pandemic adversely affect so many aspects in our life, including economic, social, and also financial sectors. It has weakened the global economy, both in the real and financial sectors. Nevertheless, risk arising from the climate change is also highly prioritized and need to be mitigated by collaborative efforts and also synergy around the globe. I believe this is why all of us are present here today at this meeting. Indonesia Financial Service Authority, or we call it OJK, appreciate the timely release of the CEFI policy review on Indonesia in the middle of our collective effort to achieve a sustainable economic recovery, including innovative ways to finance green energy projects. Distinguished ministers, ladies and gentlemen, OJK as the Financial Service Authority in Indonesia is highly committed to support the adoption of sustainable finance program in Indonesia by issuing policies and regulation to enhance the achievement of the SDGs and climate change agendas. OJK issued 2 regulations to support the implementation of the sustainable finance. First, regulation number 51, released year 2017, regarding the implementation of sustainable finance for financial institutions in Indonesia, issuers in the capital market, and also public companies. And second, regulation number 60, established year 2017 as well, regarding the issuance of green bonds. I believe many others of some guidelines that we have been released previously, including the policy incentive for electrical vehicle manufacturers in Indonesia. Distinguished ministers, ladies and gentlemen, I believe we still need to accelerate our action in achieving climate change agenda and SDGs by mainstreaming sustainable finance even further. 3 points as the main priorities in Indonesia to ensure effectiveness of implementation, the sustainable finance principle, as well as attainment of climate change agenda and SDGs in the near future. First, establish green taxonomy guideline as a guidance to develop sustainable innovative products and services, including their disclosures. This agenda is considered as Financial Stability Board or FSB, as well as ASEAN Taxonomy Board's agendas with respect to disclosures and climate change risk assessment for financial institutions and also financial services. Yeah. Second, develop innovative scheme of sustainable project financing or funding. And the third, increase awareness and capacity building for all stakeholders in Indonesia. To accelerate the implementation of those initiatives, OJK prepares National Task Force on Sustainable Finance in collaboration with industry as a forum for discussion various issues related to the sustainable finance. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the Leaders Summit on Climate in April 2021 that was attended as well by President Joko Widodo also raised awareness to global players in financial sectors as the main focus of discussion. The discussion implicitly confirmed that net zero carbon economy could only be achieved if we could find innovative and affordable ways to finance green sources of energy. Commitment and global collaboration are the key success factors of climate change agenda. Financing a clean energy is not only a single country commitment, but also a global effort to achieve a better global environment. However, from the financial sector perspective, we learn that a clean energy is sometimes also exposed to high-risk business. A complete set of risk management of clean energy should be the priority for discussion to identify what risk is and how to mitigate the risk. OJK pays strong attention to the clean energy sector by establishing a guideline for financial institutions to finance a clean energy project in 2015. I believe, if necessary, we still need to enhance a new guideline or to complete set additional guideline really to support the speed of the implementation of the agenda. As the follow-up of the guideline, OJK require the financial institution to develop sustainable finance action plan for each institution in Indonesia. And we require them to report the progress to OJK on yearly basis. This approach is to assess the action of the commitment of financial institutions to finance sustainable projects in Indonesia. I would like to share some statistical figures here. Currently, the outstanding green loan amount to 55.9 billion on Indonesian rupiah is 809.75 trillion. And blended finance portfolio amount to US dollar 2.46 billion, or in Indonesian rupiah is 35.6 trillion rupees. This progress shows the commitment of financial institutions and services to support the program in Indonesia. This blended finance project will roll out at the World Bank IMF annual meeting in Bali. It was 2018, consists of 33 projects under SDG Indonesian One program. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, for closing, thanks to OECD for kind support to Indonesia, as has been stipulated in a recent MOU between OJK and OECD. And I'm confident that the implementation sustainable finance in Indonesia with full support by financial sectors. Let me close my remarks by wishing you all enjoy this fruitful discussion to embark up on our journey to create better world for all of humanity and our future generation around the world. Thank you. Have a good discussion.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Bapak Wimbo Santoso, for your comprehensive remarks. Now let me pass the floor to Bapak Arifin Tasrif, Minister of Energy and Mineral Resources. The floor is yours.
Coordinating Minister of Economic Affairs, His Excellency Mr. Airlangga Hartarto, Secretary General of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, Excellency Matthias Cormann, Chairman of Financial Service Authority, or OJK, Mr. Wimbo Santoso, Danish Ambassador, His Excellency Lars Bo Larsen, distinguished speakers, participants, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon from Jakarta. My warmest congratulations to the OECD for finalizing the first clean energy finance and investment policy review of Indonesia, which hopefully can serve as a reference for others in developing clean energy finance and investment. Indonesia is committed to reduce around more than 300 up to 400 million tons of CO2 emission from our energy sector by 2030 in accordance with the Paris Agreement. By last year, Indonesia's energy sector has reduced more than 60 million tons of CO2 emission, mainly through the development of new and renewable energy, energy efficiency, and low carbon fuel utilizations. In order to achieve net zero emission in 2050, the Ministry of Energy Mineral Resources Office has been preparing energy transition roadmap to carbon neutral. Among others are: 1. Massive new and renewable development with additional capacity around 38 gigawatt by 2035, prioritizing on solar PV. Besides that, we will also continue to develop other new and renewable energy sources such as wind, biomass, geothermal, hydro, ocean, and also battery energy storage systems. Second, reduction of fossil energy resources utilization and clean technology implementation through no additional coal power plant unless it is already having power purchase agreement. Converting the use of diesel fuel into gas power plant with a total capacity of more than 2 gigawatt, then gradually transforming the renewable power plant afterwards. Phasing out of coal power plants and coal gas power plants and implementation of carbon capture storage or carbon capture utilization and storage for fossil fuel plants. The third, interconnections of transmission and smart grid electricity development. For the development of electricity infrastructure, our target is to interconnect electricity transmission in Sumatra, Java, Kalimantan, and Sulawesi by 2024, as well as several inter-island interconnection. In addition to that is installation of 7 smart grid projects that are planned in Java and Bali. We are also conducting study on electricity toll road for the national, or we call it Nusantara grid, which connects the electricity network between major islands as well as Papua, Maluku, and Nusa Tenggara, so that the electricity of renewable energy from great potential areas can be transmitted to broader areas with lack of resources but high electricity demand. And then last, to increase the use of electric vehicles. We have a target, millions of cars and motorcycles using electric energy in 2030. The CEFI Indonesia Policy Review was launched in just in time, as Indonesia is currently in the process of finalizing the 2021 and 2030 Electric Supply Business Plan, or we call it RUPTL, and related policies to encourage the acceleration of renewable energy development and implementation of energy efficiency. The RUPTL is designed to be a greener business plan by including more renewable projects. A huge amount of investment is required to meet our clean energy and emission reduction target in securing a smooth transition as well as making a conducive renewables investment climate. Some challenges may arise. In this regard, the government is working hard to ensure a better, more reliable and affordable access to green electricity. Support from all related parties is necessary in order to meet the growing demand while also maintaining sustainable environment. One of the notable challenges in renewable development is in improving transmission and distribution lines. In the future, Indonesia aims to improve the variable renewable energy penetration into the grid. Support from the OECD and other partners on best and clean technology utilization, fair, transparent procurement process, as well as related costs and electricity tariff will be greatly propel for us to reach such a target. Finally, one of the key success to carry out the energy transformation is by advancing human resources. As we work hard to make a better future for the next generation, we need to make sure that our successors inherit and advance the skill needed to continue this transition process. In this regard, we need to work together with the OECD and other development partners to empower the young generation and prepare them with the right tools to ensure a better world for all of us. To conclude, once again, my highest appreciation to the OECD initiative to conduct Clean Energy Finance and Investment Policy Review of Indonesia. I do sincerely hope that this policy review will provide significant insight on developing an innovative and flexible financial instrument to support our program in developing energy transition project. Thank you, wish you healthy and looking forward to cooperate with you.
Thank you very much, Bapak Arifin Tasrif, for your strong commitment in the net zero and sustainable future of Indonesia. Now, let me invite Bapak Erlangga Hartarto, Coordinating Minister for Economic Affairs, to give us his remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Rudolfo, for the invitation. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning. His Excellency OECD Secretary General, Mr. Matthias Komen, His Excellency Danish Ambassador for Indonesia, Mr. Lars Bo Larsen, His Excellency OJK Chairman, Pak Wimbo Santoso, His Excellency Minister of Energy and Mineral Resources, Pak Arifin Tasrif, respectful participants, ladies and gentlemen. OECD and Indonesia have already long cooperation to improve good governance practices and exchange knowledge in many sectors. In the early 2019, the government of Indonesian delegation was invited to the OECD headquarters to share an interest in developing the clean energy sector in emerging economies. Later in 2019, OECD and Indonesia officially launched the Clean Energy Finance and Investment Mobilization Program. And today I'm glad that one of the main activities under the program of Clean Energy Finance and Investment Review of Indonesia is ready to be launched. Therefore, I convey my appreciation to the OECD, who has conducted this review that comprehensively covers the challenges and opportunities to improve the clean energy finance and investment in Indonesia. This report also contains tailored and practical recommendations that would support the effort to reduce greenhouse gas emission and accelerate the clean and sustainable energy transition. The finalization of the report could not happen without the contribution of my colleague from related ministry, and also agencies. So the Clean Energy Association, as well as financial institution and other stakeholders. So I thank you for all of your hard work and support. Ladies and gentlemen, recently the government stipulated the jobs creation law, which has designed to allow more investment, as well as the establishment of sovereign wealth fund to support the investment strategic infrastructures, including the clean energy investment. We will also launch the new online single submission to improve the ease of doing business that will boost the investment in Indonesia. Nevertheless, the COVID-19 global pandemic has brought the consequences, including deflated our economic growth that impacted the people's life in the country. To address those challenges, the government implement continuous and comprehensive program to assist people to recover better by providing social security program, included the incentive for business activities, SMEs, dan corporation, as well as capacity building for the workforces. And the last but not least, in providing the COVID-19 vaccination for the population that we hope will become the game changer to beat the coronavirus. At the moment, we can vaccinate 1.3 million in a day. So we will increase the capacity of vaccination. Ladies and gentlemen, aligned with the concept of recovery and build back better, Indonesia commitment to reduce GHG emission by 29% in 2030 find its momentum since it's good opportunity to collaborate with global community to tackle the impact of climate change in Indonesia. Having said that, putting the commitment into action requires high financial support that our state budget alone cannot meet the needs. So the finalization of the report is really on the timely. Yet Indonesia has to focus on strategy, not only can reduce the emission, but at the same time, it also have abundant resources and would attract interest from the investor. And this is a clean energy. However, some challenges remain to untap and optimize the potential. And we agree that we need to establish a synergy from all the stakeholders to overcome the challenge, to accelerate more finance and investment in the clean energy. As my colleague has been said earlier, that in the energy sector, we concentrate on the renewables such as geothermal, hydro, solar, wind, as well as we build the EV car ecosystem from the mining of nickel to the fuel cell to the battery, as well as to accelerate the manufacturing of EV cars. We expect that 20% of EV cars can be produced by the year of 2025. So I think we will also do many incentive for this renewable energy, including introductions of the solar panel in the rooftop of the factories. Again, OECD comes timely on this matter, and I hope that OECD will not stop only by giving us the recommendation, but I seek further OECD support to sharing the best practice and facilitating the capacity building program. And most importantly, I encourage OECD countries to confidently financing and investing in the clean energy project in Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, I hope that this event today, all of the stakeholders will participate actively to accelerate the low carbon development in Indonesia. Once again, I thank you for your support and attendance. Stay safe and stay healthy. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bapak Elanga Artato. Your ministry has always been highly supportive in the relationship of Indonesia and the OECD. Let me thank you again, Ministers and Secretary General, for your interesting remarks. I return the floor to Anga Darmawan, who will moderate the handover of the report between the Danish Ambassador Lars Bo Larsen and Minister Erlangga Hartarto. Please, Anne, the floor is yours.
Ya, thank you, Rodolfo. Bapak Menko, Bapak Menteri SDM, Bapak Dubes, terima kasih atas sambutannya. Dan sekarang kita menginjak acara yang selanjutnya, yaitu serah terima buku laporan CEFI Policy Review of Indonesia dari Bapak Duta Besar Denmark kepada Bapak Menko Perekonomian. Namun sebelumnya saya persilahkan Bapak Dubes untuk dapat menyampaikan sambutan singkat sebelum nanti menyerahkan buku laporan kepada Bapak Menko. His Excellency, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon and good morning to all Excellencies, Ministers, Erlangga Hartarto, Minister Tasbis Arifin. Very good to see you here today, Secretary General and all colleagues joining online, friends from around the world. Yeah. It's a big honor for me to be here today, to be able to hand over this report. A lot has been said already, maybe everything has been said, but let me add two things. One is, I think the timing of today's event is very good. We appreciate very much the leadership that we see from Indonesia when it comes to the green transition. And we know that you're working very hard, Minister, in your ministry in finding the right way forward to achieve the goals that you just mentioned. And also we appreciate very much the partnership that we have, also in different formats. And let me give a special thanks here also to Pagdaran, also joining here online for all the hard work that you're giving into this. So I think timing could not be better. Secondly, let me say, I think this report gives a lot of very tangible, practical advice of how to achieve the combination of not only going for a green transition, which will be coming, but how to combine that with attracting investments and creating jobs. And I think this triangle of investments and jobs, together with the green transition, is a possibility that we have in front of us. Let me also really appreciate what you said, Minister Erlangga, when it comes to the job creation law. I think that is an immense positive step forward. And I also agree with you of the potential of the Indonesia Investment Authority. And we already enjoy very good cooperation with the INA on also these issues. So I think a lot of good things are to be said about this. Most have been said. So let me stop here. And it's a big honor for me to be able to hand over this report. And I wish you all the best of success in taking this forward.
Mohon Bapak Menko dapat berdiri didampingi oleh Bapak Menteri SDM untuk mendapatkan serah terima buku. Oke. Terima kasih. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now we conclude to our the end of our opening session. So before Pak Menko, Pak Menteri SDM dan Bapak Duta Besar meninggalkan ruangan acara, mohon dapat berdiri sekali lagi Pak untuk foto bersama. Ya, mungkin Pak Ses atau Pak Dida untuk dapat bergabung. Ya, silakan. Ya. Silakan para fotografer. Yuk. Terima kasih. Bapak Menko, Bapak Dubes, dan Bapak Menteri SDM, terima kasih atas kehadirannya. Bapak dan Ibu yang terhormat, demikian acara pembukaan dan serah terima buku laporan Clean Energy Finance and Investment Policy Review of Indonesia. Untuk selanjutnya, kami persilahkan Bapak dan Ibu untuk mengikuti diskusi panel yang akan dipandu oleh Miss Cecilia Tam. Cecilia, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Ang, and thank you, Ministers and Ambassador Larsen, for our first session, and thank you, Secretary General and Rodolfo. Now I'd like to invite our distinguished panelists to turn on their videos and join us for our panel discussion today. This session will highlight recent and upcoming policy reforms that will help Indonesia accelerate its clean energy transition. This transition should focus on deploying Indonesia's abundant energy efficiency and renewable energy potential. Achieving this potential will require a major scale-up in finance and investment in clean energy. And this panel will also discuss how international collaboration can help Indonesia to green its economic recovery. On our panel today, we will have Bapak Dadan Kustiana, Director General, New Renewable Energy and Energy Conservation of the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources, Ibu Laksmi Dewanti, Director General, Climate Change Control from the Ministry of Environment and Forestry, Rasmus Abigard Christensen, Head of Green Diplomacy and Climate, Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Denmark, and finally, Ken O'Flaherty, UK COP26 Regional Ambassador to the Asia, Pacific, and South Asia. Each panelist will provide some opening remarks, and after we've heard from all our four speakers, we will open up the floor for questions. Participants are invited to pose their questions through the Q&A function at the bottom of the screen. And now I'd like to invite our first panelist to provide an update on recent upcoming policy reforms that have been implemented to support renewables and energy efficiency development. Bapak Dana, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ibu Cecilia. Good morning, my colleagues, Ibu Laksmi, and also Pak Ken and others. Thank you for the opportunity. I would like to share some slides. Is it okay, Mbak Cecilia?
Yes, please go ahead. You should have a co-host status, so you can share your screen.
Okay, thank you. So as mentioned by the ministers earlier, that government of Indonesia has targeted the renewable energy to contribute 23% in 2025. This target will also support the commitment of the Indonesia to reduce the greenhouse gas emission by 29% in 2030. So the energy sector is expected to contribute 38% of our NDC target in 2030, which is half of them will be from renewable energy. So from total